Big fella. Whale. Okay. Maybe he only speaks whale. We need
Dory?
to
What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you sure you speak whale?
Can you
Dory? Heaven knows what you're saying! See? He's swimming away.
Come back.
He's not coming back. You offended him.
Maybe a different dialect.
Dory. Dory, this is not whale. You're speaking like upset stomach.
Maybe I should try humpback.
No, don't try humpback. All right.
Communication is one of the most important skills that will be used throughout your life. In business, communication can be used to propose a plan, announce a merger, or build a strong team. Mistakes in business communication can have dire consequences if not done properly. The map to Finding Nemo. Putting communication into context. Consider the reason and desired results. Assessing the receiver in context. Deciding on the sender. Consider the proper tone.
Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, yo,
How are you
what's
doing today?
poppin', boss man?
How's the project your team got assigned last week going?
I don't know. It's okay. I was a little bit, I was chilling with the homies, just relaxing last week. Didn't get that much work done, but I got a couple suggestions for you. Yeah, I think you might like them, but I'm a little bit busy this week. I got some stuff to do.
That is definitely what you should not be doing. Ryan did actually have some good ideas, but his manager will not give him a chance because of the manner he spoke it. Just keep swimming with Nemo, and we will help you communicate. Business communication can be seen as presenting a problem where there is no single solution. You have many tools at your disposal and must make sure to weigh your options and decide the best solution for the context of your communication. Context is just as important as communication itself because with the wrong context, your approach may not be the best suited. To ensure you have the best method, ask yourself the following questions. 1. What is the reason for communicating? Do you need to inform someone or look for an answer to your question? 2. Who will be the receiver? Will it be the CEO of Apple, the school principal, or your manager? And finally, 3. What is his or her environment? Are there going to be casual conversations as if you were on the beach, or formally as if you were at work? These are important things to consider when communicating.
You quit it?
What?
Trying to swim here. What, the ocean isn't big enough for you or something like that?
Huh?
You got a problem, buddy? Huh? Do you? Want a piece of me? Yeah. Ooh, I'm scared now. What?
Wait a minute.
Stop following me, okay?
What are you talking about? You're showing me which way the boat went.
A boat? Hey! I've seen a boat. It passed by not too long ago. It went, this way. It went this way. Follow me!
Wait a minute. What is going on? You already told me which way the boat was going.
I did? Oh, no.
Every action has a reaction. This is why you must consider the reasons and desired results for your communication. Business communication is generally to fulfill two purposes: to inform others and to persuade others. It is important to be specific about your reasons for communicating, because failing to do so can result in many unsuccessful exchanges where you will not get your desired results. You can have multiple reasons for communicating, so you may need to prioritize the most important as well as supporting reasons. Some examples of why you may want to communicate is to ask for or give information, to explain, to issue instructions, to advise or recommend, to create a record, to persuade, to thank or congratulate, to foster an atmosphere of goodwill, to improve the company's image, and to create a good impression of oneself. When in doubt, always go beyond the reasons for communicating and begin to think about the results you want from the receiver before even taking action. Before you begin, it is a good tip to complete this sentence. As a result of this communication, the receiver will, and then you may list all the reasons you are looking for. Doing this will provide you with a lot of confidence and structure for what you do.
Now, we will go to our first question. How will the receiver benefit? As a sender, it is important that you point out the benefit that your receiver will be getting from your correspondence. By doing this, it will increase the likelihood that your receiver will be better engaged and be more interested in giving you the results you want. Now, let's go to the second question. What is the receiver's knowledge? Understanding the receiver's knowledge will affect the tone of your correspondence. For example, providing technical jargon that your receiver is unfamiliar with will only confuse them and draw attention away from what you are trying to say. On the other hand, explaining concepts that the receiver is familiar with will come off as condescending. So not only will you insult the receiver, you might get your head bitten off.
Just a bite! You hold together, mate! Fish and friends, not food! Dory, look out! I'm having fish tonight!
Our third question. What is your experience with the receiver? Past experience is a very valuable tool when sending correspondence. Recalling on what was either positive or negative will indicate the type of reception your message will receive. For example, if you have previously been given praise from your manager for your credibility, then the next time you give an idea, they will be more open-minded. We have already discussed having a positive experience with the receiver. But let me ask, if you have had a negative experience, should you consider sending the correspondence elsewhere?
Yes, if possible, you should change receivers.
Correct. A negative experience can sometimes cloud a receiver's reception of your message. In this case, if possible, try to send the correspondence elsewhere, maybe with a person who you've had a positive experience with. Now, we will go to our fourth and final question. Will your correspondence reach secondary readers? In some cases, it is important that you anticipate secondary readers coming across your message. You should anticipate who might read your message and make your correspondence appropriate for them, so that your message will be clear throughout the chain of communication.
At me. And maybe he wouldn't have done it if I hadn't been so tough on him. I don't know. Anyway, he swam out in the open water to this boat, and when he was out there, these divers appeared, and I tried to stop them, but the boat was too fast. So we swam out in the ocean to follow
We
him.
couldn't stop him. And then Nemo's dad, he swims out to the ocean and they bump into three ferocious
sharks. He scares away the sharks by blowing them up.
Golly, that's amazing!
And then dives thousands of feet
straight down into the dock. It's like wicked dark down there. You can't see a thing. How's it going, Bob? And the only thing I can see down there is
Imagine this big horrible creature with razor-sharp teeth. Nice barrier, man. And then he has to blind.
In this example, although there are several secondary readers, Marlin retells his story in a way that even though there are many secondary readers, his message is consistent to each link of the communication chain. Boss, can I present the new idea for the marketing campaign? I know I'm new, and I know the CEO does not like new hires, but come on. Come on. I'm gorgeous. He'll love me, and he'll love that I'm presenting him the idea.
Take a look around you, because you may not always be the best person to communicate. Decide whether you are the best person to get the desired results from your receiver. Asking a manager to present an idea may be more effective, as they are more likely to have more authority, influence, credibility, and persuasiveness. You may also have another person speak, write, or draft a correspondence on your behalf. This is what Ryan's boss should do.
No, Ryan, I do not think that is a good idea. I have been at the company a little bit longer, and the CEO is a little bit more familiar with me.
We're halfway there. You have now learned to think critically and deeply about communication. It is more than just spewing out words, but the idea, reason, and the person you are communicating with must come up into consideration. Let's continue to find more communication strategies with Nemo.
Considering the proper tone. Although tone is one of the subtler aspects of communication, an inappropriate tone can cause problems. In everyday conversation with people we know, on a personal basis, such as family, friends, and colleagues, we use a variety of tones that may not be correct for the situation or conversation without thinking.
My dad says it's not safe.
Nemo! No!
Dad?
Ugh, you're about to swim into open water.
No, I wasn't.
It's just a
gonna
good thing
go
I was
up
here.
with Dad.
If I hadn't shown up, I don't know.
He wasn't gonna go. Yeah, he was too afraid. No, I wasn't.
This does not concern you, kids. And you're lucky I don't tell your parents you were out there. You know you can't swim well.
I can swim fine, Dad, okay?
No, it's not okay. You shouldn't be anywhere near here. Okay, I was right. You know what? We'll start school in a year or two.
If Nemo's dad, Marlin, had considered the proper tone, Nemo wouldn't have been kidnapped and wouldn't have swam into the ocean, in turn getting kidnapped. However, in the end, Nemo did forgive his father Marlin and repaired all the damage between them. But with business colleagues, we do not know on a personal basis. We need to be more careful because we cannot afford to offend them. Now, you may be wondering, how do I use the proper tone? It's quite simple, actually. Just be courteous and choose the right level of formality. The fundamental rule of business communication is to adopt a courteous tone because courtesy is the foundation. Even if you are angry for a good reason, you will be more effective if you don't make discourteous remarks. If Nemo's dad, Marlin, even though he had all the right to be angry at Nemo, had used a courteous tone, Nemo wouldn't have gotten offended and swam into the open sea and gotten kidnapped. Now, some of you might be wondering how one speaks in a courteous tone. It's very easy. Always be sensitive to the feelings of others and make polite remarks. That's it. Take the following announcement into consideration. This announcement is to tell you that you shouldn't talk to other employees about non-business matters while you are working. Surely you realize that a lot of trivial chattering is inappropriate business behavior. If you want to keep your job, limit your unimportant conversations to the times when you are on a break. Pay attention to customers when you are working, and the restaurant will be more profitable. Now, if you were an employee listening to this announcement, how would you interpret this message? Negatively, right? You see, in business, you will be dealing with people you don't know well, so it can be hard to undo the damage of impolite, belittling, or sarcastic comments. Once this announcement is made, many employees will be offended and the damage made will become hard to undo. Which is why it is very important to treat everyone with courtesy, as this is key to avoiding offending anyone. Although courtesy is the basis for a pleasing tone, you also need to decide on the appropriate level of formality.
All right, let's see those pearly whites.
I'm a piranha. They're in the Amazon.
And a piranha's a fish, just like your present.
I get fishy.
Oh, no.
Fishy.
Poor little guy.
There are three main forms of formality: formal tone, moderate informal tone, and informal tone. The dentist in the clip shown used a moderate informal tone, making sure to stay professional, but informal enough as well to better communicate with the little girl. Likewise, a moderate informal tone is usually best for business correspondence as well as business presentations, but not always. Occasionally, a very informal tone can work as well.
Great! It appears you have some knowledge in writing and speaking strategies. But let's take this to the real world and see how well you do in actual workplace examples. Question number 1. You are an accountant for a business and you want to tell your manager that you have an idea to increase profit. Do you start the conversation by, explaining what you did? Or do you start the conversation by saying you have an idea to increase profit? Correct. As previously discussed, as the sender, you should immediately point out the benefit your receiver will be getting from your correspondence. If you had proceeded with option 1, your manager will likely lose interest and not be as much engaged when you ask for his or her feedback.
Question number 2. You are an owner of a restaurant, and you notice that your employees are constantly talking amongst themselves about non-business matters. You decide to send a memo regarding this issue. Should you send a memo that has a harsh and furious tone or a courteous tone? You are correct. The fundamental rule of business communication is to adopt a courteous tone. By a harsh memo, you are less likely to have an effective message with your discourteous remarks. And instead of getting an appropriate reception from your message, you will instead offend your receiver.
Question number 3. You are a newly hired supervisor and you are sending a memo to your staff. Should you use inflated language in your memo to sound impressive and establish authority? Correct. You should not do this. Using inflated language will only run the risk of alienating and or confusing your receivers.
Final question. You are writing a business report to your supervisor. In the past, you have recognized that your supervisor loves details in any report. This time, should you focus on having a lot of detail in your report? Correct. In this case, you have recalled on a past experience and repeat a positive aspect to make your correspondence more effective to the receiver.
You and Nemo are finally home. This journey has been filled with a lot of life lessons, which I hope you take with you. Up next will be our completed map of ideas that we have learned while searching for Nemo. Again, I hope you have learned some very valuable lessons. But most importantly, don't swim over the edge and understand the ins and outs of communication.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Keep up with the program, Dory.
Remember, fish are friends.
Not food. Bye.
Hold on, here we go. Next up, knowledge.
Bye, son. Have fun.
Bye, Dad. Oh, Mr. A, wait, I forgot something. Love you, Dad.
I love you too, son.